Welcome to the Freud's Angels weekly reading, bringing the collective guidance and understanding for this week's energy.
Remember, never give your power up to a reader or a reading. You always have the power of autonomy. Hey, angels, welcome to your weekly reading. Happy fall, y'all.
Yay!
Happy fall equinox. Is it? Yeah, it's
Yeah.
an equinox.
Yes.
Yeah.
And happy Libra season. Bum,
Amen.
bum.
It's Vanessa's season.
It's my season.
Every season's her season, but for real, especially this season.
Yeah. This one, everybody has to celebrate me.
Right. Exactly. So we're reading from September 22nd to the 28th, and or whenever you kind of come across this podcast. Yeah, so I mean, this is a great day to do all the stuff, right? I mean, you don't have to do any of the stuff, but if you're a person who loves a ritual, who loves a, creation, it's Libra season. Like go bedazzle everything, like
Yes.
put jewels on everything, right?
Beautify it.
But also, it's a great day to kind of refresh or set up your altar for the fall, kind of reconnect with what fall means to you, your connection to it, and just really getting into that space of intention. Some of you know that I have a hard time with doing rituals and things like that, not because I don't like them, but because I feel like I'm ill-equipped, right? My brain tells me I have to get all the things and I have none of the things, right? And I'm like, okay, so what can we do with what we have, right? I'm like, you don't need to make this elaborate ritual. I think I posted an Instagram post about that when I was burning a green candle once. And, it was like, you could just light the freaking candle. And like, you don't necessarily have to do all the stuff.
Yeah.
But you all have stuff in your house that means something, and honor the elements and the four directions and put it in a place where you connect to it. You can spend time with it and refresh it, but just make it simple. I mean, y'all, I'm sure y'all have a crystal or two. I'm sure you have an incense or candle of some sort. You've got to have, water because you need water to live. So
Yeah.
you have the stuff. Don't overthink it. And this is also a message to self. So don't worry. I'm saying this to myself as well.
Yeah, because your intention is the most powerful thing, and that's what I feel like is the point of all of the things for me anyway.
Yeah.
Is like if all of the things are there, they help me stay in intention, right?
Right.
Like because I have mindfully gathered things and I have mindfully spoken things, and you know what I mean? So it keeps me in my intention. But if I can do the intention thing real well without gathering all the things, then I'm still doing it. You know what I mean? And that was what happened to me where I was like, I think I was out of something and I was like, well, and then I was like, that is legitimately not where this comes from. Like that is a helpful tool. You're fine. It's
Yeah.
okay. Right. Like, and like you said, I feel like sometimes it makes us even more creative. Like when I feel like doing a simmer pot and I don't have all the things, I just throw things in there and see what happens. And
Yep.
to me, that's more potion like than anything, right?
Yeah.
You see
Well,
what happens, right? It allows you to be creative and be so much in your intention because it's not done for you, right? Like and so you have to be in it because you have to know why you're doing everything that you're doing, and that increases your intention, right?
yep.
Like I'm doing this because I'm desiring this effect, you know.
Absolutely.
I love
Absolutely.
it.
And so, think about what you want to create, how you want to create. And you know what, friends, cooking is also like a little bit of a ritual. I mean, when
Oh
we welcome fall, like if you have a favorite fall recipe, that's also a brilliant way of connecting to, the season and all the things. You need water, you obviously need air, like, you
yeah.
need heat, you need fire to bake it. This all the elements are there as well. So it's
Yeah.
not just creating specific altars. And if you're a person who loves to go all out and do all the things with the rituals, I love you and I am in awe of you because
Yeah.
I don't know how you do it. And
Yeah.
my brain wants to complicate everything and for whatever reason, but yeah. Yeah.
Same.
So
Because I want to do it right.
Yeah, I know. Like there's this fear of not doing yeah, whatever. We won't go there. That's a conversation for a different podcast. Let's not call ourselves out in the reading. Like
The
let's wait
reading,
for the
yeah.
actual podcast.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Miss Vanessa, what are the mermaids sharing with us today?
Well, the mermaids finally gave us something different. I don't know. I've been like, come on. Like, but not that I'm mad because I mean, if we have to receive the same message a few times, we have to receive the message a few times. But we did get a different one today, and I'm excited about it. It was the support card. And now when I first bought this deck, this card came out a lot. This card, and I forget what the other one was, but it was definitely like when I was hard and heavy in like connecting to local sisterhood and things like that. I really needed connection. I guess the other one's probably connection. Um, but the support card, I feel like today, so y'all will see it if you look at the graphic on the 4 Angels media. There's 3 mermaids on here, and 2 of them are looking at the camera, and one is looking away, and like 2 of them are holding hands, and the other one is back to back with the middle person. Now, what I love about the card is that I feel like when you're looking at it, you're seeing different kinds of support. And so it asks us to think about what we believe support is and how it functions in our lives. Because you've got the 2 embracing, right? And we think of that, I think, pretty widely as what support is, right? Like somebody who can hold me up or hold me when I need it. But then the one that has their back, that they're back to back, she's a lot darker and it feels very shadowy. And I feel like sometimes we forget to lean into that kind of support of, it's not always blatant and out there. It's not always when we need help. Sometimes supporting ourselves is dipping into our shadow work, is looking at, like looking at the things that are not the most fun, but we know will help us get to another place. And then also, same card, same positions. I think of supporting yourself as turning your back, literally, on things that do not serve you. That is supporting yourself as well. So, I mean, in general, the card is literally asking us to think of right on the card different supports. And so we are very well served to do that for ourselves. What do I believe support is? What does it look like when I show support versus when I receive support? What do I need from the world and from people and from my connections? What makes me feel supported? And going through all of that, because a lot of times people don't know what makes them feel supported until they're in crisis, and that's the worst time to try to figure out what support is, because you're looking to soothe something that's not going to be it's not going to be your rational mind, right? Like how many times have people been freaking out, and people being me also freaking out, being like, I just need you to blank, and they blank, and you're like, it's not good enough, right? Somehow it's not good enough because that it wasn't the thing that you needed, right? Like you can't be rational to be able to look at the root and say, this is what I actually need from you, right? So, if we can kind of do some of that work beforehand and understand that, we will bring people into our lives that can provide what we believe support is, whether it's humor or like a shoulder to cry on, or somebody to go on adventures with, or somebody who has a spiritual gift that we can offer up some sort of exchange in order for to receive that support. It's really important because we're not meant to be alone. We're not meant to support ourselves. That's why we crave human connection. And so the best time to think about support is when we are not in crisis. So the mermaids are saying, if you're not in crisis, think about what support is
Yeah.
beforehand, so that if crisis comes or if anything else happens, you know what you need to know. You know if you need to do shadow, you know if you need to turn your back, you know if you need somebody to hold your hand, you know if you need somebody to rest on. because you know that about yourself.
Yep. And I think too is that when we recognize our support outside of the crisis moment, it gives us confidence that we can handle or that we'll be able to get through the crisis.
Yes.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Mhm. Yeah, because when
So,
we're in our crisis, we're like, "Ah," like, we
yeah,
really believe that we got ourselves there and we can't get ourselves out. If we feel like there's a way, there's a hand, there's a winch, there's something.
right. There's a crane.
Yeah.
Um, it kind of, as I'm sitting here and kind of reflecting on it, it feels so part of my codependent life before I ever started this journey. One of my mantras to myself was nobody helps me, nobody supports me.
Yeah.
And it in that conviction that my brain was giving me, it made me feel really alone. It made me feel lonely. It isolated me. It created a lot of codependent relationships to look for the people that were going to help me, but yet I refused to accept the help that they were offering me. So
What?
no, say it isn't so. Um, so, I think too is like it's our relationship with support, but receiving it.
Yeah.
Like, how do we receive support? And
Yeah.
how willing are we to receive it? It was like, I think we've done a podcast on this
Sure have.
about the ability to receive. And because, like, with my hysterectomy, everybody's like, well, just ask. I'll support you. I'll help you. And I ask, but then I refuse the help that they were offering after I've asked them for it because I was like, I can ask, but I can't receive. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I actually, somebody, one of my very, very close friends from childhood put something on Facebook about like, I need a partner who's like me. And I jumped all over it. I was like, I used to say that, but was I ever going to accept that? And
yeah,
she was like, "Shit." And I was like, "Yeah, I know." Like, that's why I'm sharing it with you because I very much understand that that's what we think we crave, but then we're going to fight them. Like, I'm going to fight you over who's going to cook dinner. I'm going to fight you over who's going to do this, that, and the other because I can't stand sitting there and letting you do it. Well, shit, I can't ask for it and then not receive it. That doesn't make any sense.
yep,
Dang.
I know. It's like, okay, being called out in all the areas.
Yeah.
Shit.
Speaking of called out, what's our next call out? What we got over
Well,
there?
the surrender cards, it's called is our surrender to procrastination.
No, I don't like
Our
that one.
surrender our procrastination. It says, now is the time to jump on a goal instead of putting it off. Taking action will attract success, which I think is very much in alignment with what Vanessa is doing. Speaking of which, we must announce to the world on our podcast and whomever listens, and please, friends, share it with everybody that Miss Vanessa has started to post up her meditations on her YouTube channel.
I have.
So she is on fire right now. She is in the creative juices, and we're just going to let them flow regardless of where they go because,
I
man, it's a
am.
beautiful place to be.
Yeah, and it's because it's funny that you say surrender, to procrastination because I feel like sometimes we don't know what procrastination means in our lives, so we don't
Yeah.
really get that that's what we're doing because we think of it as, well, this is what procrastination is, but all of the reasons behind it are the things that we've got to handle so that the procrastination goes away. Procrastination doesn't go away with movement; it goes away with healing.
Yeah. 1,000%. Totally. 100%. And I think about procrastination is, sometimes it's like we were talking about rituals earlier and we talked about altars. Well, part of that and procrastinating doing them is also, I think, too, again, the part of doing it right is a thing. But I also think sometimes, you know, our minds, and I know we beat this horse very dead, is our brain's job is to make sure we survive and keep us safe. And when we're exploring new things in our life and being intentional about our life and connecting to things that are outside of what the brain constructs as safe, it's going to want to complicate things, which is where procrastination comes in. Like, when we're wanting to create and write, like I want to start writing again, and I want to, do monthly group healings and doing things like that. But there's that part of me that is a little bit afraid of doing it, not because I haven't done it for years, but like I've been doing this all the time. It's what I do. But there's a part of my brain that feels we can't handle it.
Yeah.
There's a part of my brain that's saying you don't know how to do it, or you won't do it right, or there's a risk of being outed or physically ridiculed, or whatever that is, whatever thing it's afraid of. And when I talk to myself and kind of inquire in, "Ooh, what do we want to create?" It's like, "Oh, hell no. No, no, we don't. We'd rather go like, let's just play a game." It wants to deflect. And deflection and procrastination also comes into our healing places, like what we're doing.
Mhm.
Um, one of the things I have currently working on is working with a trauma therapist, right? And so when I go into the space of writing down what I think is alive and want to work on, I'm distracted. My brain goes into deflection. It takes me away from the space that I'm in, that I need to be in order to bring what I want to bring to therapy. And so it's it's like it just keeps putting it off and putting it off and putting it off, because it's creating this long list of things for me to do, but yet realizing I'm never going to do them because my brain will never allow me to do them.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so it's asking for what will shift this. What does my procrastination tell me? Like, what is it telling me? What is the need? What is the fear? What is the whatever it's feeling? And what do I need in order to validate that procrastination, but at the same time take action?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's outside of yourself, right? I
Mm.
mean, I had a massage and had some Reiki, and then I taught class, which is always a great thing for me because I love to teach and I love to share this and lead meditations. It's a drug for me. But those that was the kind of the sauce to get me to step out and be courageous out of the procrastination.
Mhm.
But we don't know until we try the things, right? What is it?
Mm.
I would have told myself 100 times, you don't need the Reiki, you don't need the massage, just keep going, whatever. But there are certain things, there's a part of me that doubles down on it, says, no, I need this. I need the sessions. I need the healing session, the hollow bone sessions, the energy work, the body work. All those things matter. The secret sauce is part of that, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah. So when we look at our procrastination, I think too is our procrastination and looking at it sometimes leading us to need the support of others, the
Mhm.
support of your support system, right? We talk about it all the time, support systems. Well, that's not just like a good friend sometimes. That's like therapy. That is like exercise. Maybe you have a nutritionist, maybe you have an energy worker or a healer or a massage therapist, or maybe the support is that you teach something that is very connected to your heart. Those are support systems. It isn't just one thing, it's a facet of many things. And so our procrastination will definitely tell us what we need, and will give us information for us to kind of get out of it and reach for the support that is around us in order to stop procrastinating and to move forward, but more in an intentional way, right? In the
Right.
pregame, we were talking about, I'm in physical therapy right now. And I was telling Vanessa, I'm like, look, when I'm working out or doing exercise, I don't necessarily need somebody to always be on top of me. I just need to plug into a body double. I need that energetic support of another human with me in order to keep going, to do it, to feel like I can push myself. Like that is super vital to my success when it comes to physical movement. That's why it's hard for me to do it at home by myself, because I'm like, whatever. Um,
Yeah.
and so it's really kind of in that space of knowing how you get support, not just in the physical, but also energetically as well, and spiritual.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's about praying, it's about spirit, it's about fit your faith, it's about God, it's about Jesus, whatever you pray to. But there's many facets of it, but knowing them helps you understand how to love into your procrastination and thank it for keeping you safe, but at the same time saying, but we're going to try this.
Yeah.
and we're going to move forward because this is what we want to do, and just taking inspiration when it comes.
Yeah, well, because we have the idea of what we wanna do for a reason. And even some things that we don't wanna do, right? Like, because when I think of procrastination, the things I usually procrastinate on are the things I'm not that excited about, right? Like,
Yeah.
everything that has to do
Yeah.
with cleaning or anything like that, and so I will procrastinate, and one of the tricks that I've had to do is just be realistic, which sounds funny to say because it's like, "Well, isn't that why you're procrastinating?" Like, no, as a matter of fact, when I looked at it, when I actually sat with my procrastination, I realized I was over exaggerating in my head because I didn't like what I was doing, how long it takes. And so I actually did this the other day just to double check because I put it out on the world and then I was like, I set a specific number and like, what if it's not true? Like I got like all panicky. So I went and I had a sink full of dishes and I only have to really rinse them and put them in the dishwasher, right? But when you look at the sink full of dishes, you're like, right? Like, oh my God, I don't want to do it. Right. And I'll procrastinate. Well, it took me 90 seconds to clean all the ones in there and put it 90 seconds. Something that like when I look at it, you think like a half hour is what your brain is like exaggerating it to. Like, whoa, and like all this energy, right? Like I've had to get realistic about so many things in order to stop procrastinating on it, to really go, how long do you think that that's going to take? Let's be
Yeah.
realistic about it. 15 minutes? Really? 15 minutes? That's half of an episode of Will and Grace. You can do it. Right? You can do it. And then I use my Mel Robbins 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I do it. And I just start doing something,
Yeah.
right? But like that's the thing is like we have to get into why we're doing it in order to shift the focus because the brain has already decided why we're not doing it. And so now we have to have the conversation with our brain to say, or we can try something else to see because we wanted to do it. And now you're standing in the way because you don't think it's safe to do it or something, right? Like for whatever reason, whether you're protecting my energy or you're protecting my time or whatever it is that you think you're protecting, let's go in here and really talk about it so that
Yep.
I can do the thing that I decided that I want to do or the thing that supports me. It supports me to have a sink free from dishes because
Yep.
I stress out when I see it. And it sounds funny to say that, but
I
that's what you
know.
have to do, man. You have to be able to tell your brain, like, no, no, you like an empty think. You like it. It makes you
Yeah.
feel awesome when you walk by it, you're like, "Yeah," like, you gotta do it, right? Like,
Yes.
it's supporting your future self to do this thing today.
Yep. And that's, because that's one of my things too, is that I know when I'm kind of in my head a lot and when my dishes are piling up. Like when I'm it takes me less than 5 minutes to empty the dishwasher with clean dishes and reload it in with the dishes. And
Crazy.
I know that if it's done, I can just add the next dishes that I'm using. Like I don't have to put it in the sink so it never stays there. But
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. I wrote a blog post many, 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 many years ago, many, many, many years ago, about just do the dishes. And it's about that concept of when I'm in poor mental health, and it's not wrong that I sometimes don't and I
Sure.
can't because my brain has convinced me, and it
Mhm.
is fine. There's nothing morally wrong with that. There's no shame in that because sometimes we just leave the dishes. It's okay.
100%. Yeah.
But I do know when I'm doing the dishes or I'm at the time I wrote it though, I did all hand. I never had a dishwasher, which is like game changer for me. But
Oh, I'm, like,
if
horrified. Like,
I know. But I know that when I wake up in the morning, like yesterday, I was full of motivation to do things and I was not procrastinating on all the things. I cooked for myself, I made banana bread, I did all the things. And usually by then I'm like, "Oh, I'm too tired to clean up," or "I'll just put the stuff in the fridge and then I'll just do it tomorrow." I got up and I was like, "No, we're gonna do it. We're gonna load the dishwasher. We're gonna put all the things away. We're gonna clean the counters. We're gonna do the things that we don't do because of whatever reason." And
mhm.
can I just tell you how amazing it felt this morning to wake up and not have a to-do list staring me in the face?
Yeah.
Like the euphoria of feeling like I have a clean kitchen. Or
Yeah.
it wasn't perfect, but it was so much cleaner and less cluttered than it has been. Even the stuff that I dried and left on the counter because I had to hand wash them. I was like, it's okay. I just put my knives in the butcher block and then I moved on. And it was just like, oh my God. I even went as far as filling my kettle so that I could just turn it on for my tea in the morning. Like I was so happy that I did that, that I was like, thank you, old self.
Right? Thank you, last night me. You're the best. You love me. You really do.
I felt so supported and loved that I could just do that and not be like, "Oh god," and, like,
Right.
stumble out and I felt like I had space. I took a shower in the this morning, which is not a Sunday thing for me. That's a Monday thing, but it
Yeah.
felt good, and all the things that I did, it was just like, I just feel so much I feel self-supported, right? That
Yeah.
I would think that tomorrow or the next day or whenever I thought I was gonna do the dishes, that it causes anxiety, a little bit of
Mhm.
anxiety and kind of like stress in my life. And I don't need to create more stress for myself because man, I have enough. So I
Mhm.
don't know. So yeah, so sit with your procrastination. What is it telling you? Know that the support lies from within as well as on the outside. There's internal as external support.
Mhm.
Understand maybe, this week, where do you want to focus that attention? Like, how do you want to build up or see the support that you're not seeing in your life to support you from not procrastinating? What do you need and who can you ask to help you fulfill that need if you need it? So, y'all have a great week. I am excited. We are still in eclipse season, so hang on to your hats. Um, and love your Libras hardcore. This
Yeah.
eclipse season is transforming their lives in a really big way, and they are going to be not the same Libra on the other end of it. So please, please, please support them by celebrating all of their things, whether they're, healing, whether they're winning, whether they're creating, whatever it is they're doing, please support them and celebrate them because they're one of the signs that is most impacted by this eclipse season.
And we
But
really like praise.
yes, yes, and who doesn't? But I think Libras do more than
We love
anything.
it.
Hey, you know what? I need to be told I'm smart sometimes to make me feel better, so we'll take what we can get. We love you, and we hope that you have a good week. Please go check out Miss Vanessa's YouTube channel, as well as our own. For Angels has started to upload the podcast. If you don't have a favorite podcast place, go to YouTube and you can listen to it. You don't have to watch it. You just listen to it, and it's right there. So
Yeah.
please check it out. We're here for you if you need us. Have a great week.
Hey, love y'all. Thanks for listening.
We hope we gave you something to support your journey.
Check out our Facebook or Instagram page to connect with us.
Have a great week.